Adam Jogee.
Thank you, Madam Deputy Speaker, and it's a pleasure to follow my honourable friend from Easington. And can I say what a pleasure it is to see you in the chair. You've made history with your election, and you will have inspired many women and girls across our country. It's also wonderful to see a number of my neighbours here, the member for Crewe and Nantwich, the member for Stafford, the member for Stoke-on-Trent North, and indeed Stoke-on-Trent South, and many friends from across the West Midlands. And a special thank you to my former boss, the member for Newport West and Isloyne, who is sitting here, a far cry from when I sat opposite her in her office upstairs. I would also like to pay tribute to those colleagues on this side of the House, in High Peak, in Hertford and Stortford, Smethwick, Stevenage, South Ribble, who gave very important, interesting and witty speeches, and to the members for Thornbury and Yate and Taunton and Wellington. Madam Deputy Speaker, it's a real honour for me to make my first speech in this House as the Member of Parliament for Newcastle-under-Lyme, and in such an important debate too. And I pay tribute to the Secretary of State for both this bill and for her leadership on these issues. Her and I share an interest in Northern Ireland, and I am very grateful for the work she's done to get us to where we are today. I want to start by acknowledging the deep responsibility I feel to the people who sent me here. I thank them for placing their trust in me, and I work every day to honour it. Madam Deputy Speaker, my journey to this place started in the former British Empire. My maternal grandfather arrived in the United Kingdom from Jamaica to serve king, country and to help fight fascism. He docked at Liverpool in 1941 and after meeting my grandmother built a life in Staffordshire, the county I am proud to represent today. And my dad, who is here, moved here from the then Rhodesia, now Zimbabwe, in 1979. And had the luck to meet and the wisdom to marry my mum. She's also here. And I wouldn't be here without either of them. A good Staffordshire woman born and bred. Now, I stand on the shoulders of my grandparents, Mr. and Mrs. Bob Owen and Mr. and Mrs. Adam Jogee. Their blood runs in my veins. Their life stories forged my identity and my outlook on the world. The greatest gift my parents and my grandparents have given me is their example of what courage, tolerance, love and diversity means, not as an academic concept, but as a lived experience. Madam Deputy Speaker, that I'm standing here today, a member of the House of Commons on the government benches, wasn't inevitable, but it was possible. My election, the first black man to represent anywhere in the West Midlands, says so much about who we are in 2024 and what our nation means. And whilst it's with a sense of sadness, I acknowledge that none of my grandparents are here to witness this speech. I'm confident that if they were, they would all be saying to each other, what a wonderful country this is. I'm proud of my Englishness and my Britishness, and the simple truth that in our United Kingdom, you can be anything you want to be with the right support, a work ethic, real opportunities, and a good heart. I'm not defined by my colour, but I'm very, very proud of it. And Labour governments are key to building the kind of enabling environment that means success and a good life is available to all. It's that passion for sharing opportunity that drives me every day. Now, Newcastle, for those who didn't make it to campaign with me in the general election, although I note that the Honourable Lady, the member for Hornsey and Fine Barnet, who I know very well, did make several visits, for which I'm grateful. Newcastle is an ancient market town in the middle of England. Its rich history dates back to medieval times, with its market charter granted in 1173, which means last year we celebrated the borough's 850th anniversary. The people who live, learn and work in Newcastle-under-Lyme are decent, caring, proud and honest. Indeed, when I think of their honesty, Madam Deputy Speaker, I'm reminded of two particular chats I had during the campaign. And this is semi-dangerous, I suppose, to start quoting your constituents, but I met Steve and I met his son in Betley. In fact, we're at the very good Swan pub in Betley, and I recommend anyone passing through, particularly the member for Crewe and Nantwich, are very welcome. And the first thing Steve said to me was, "You're much shorter than I thought you would be in real life." It was the final chat, not quite as short, but it was the final chat after a long day of door knocking, and my first reaction was, "Thank you very much, I think." I then met Christine, a pensioner from Woolstanton, and she said, "You're much younger and better looking than you look in your leaflets." You need new leaflets. I won't share the story about horse riding with my friend Carol Whitehouse in Audley, but suffice to say, we will all do anything safely and legal to get elected. But I was reminded in these conversations of the age-old adage that the voters are never wrong, a lesson the party opposite, not that there's many here tonight, may want to heed. Now, in my patch, you know where you stand, and if you build trust, show you care, and listen, local people will have your back. We are blessed with very fine centres of learning. We're home to Newcastle College and the wonderful Keele University, one of the best higher education institutions in our country. And my 3 colleagues in Stoke-on-Trent seek to claim credit and claim every day, but it's ours. We have many brilliant schools with wonderful teachers, teaching assistants, and Senko support staff. I've been honoured to visit many of our schools over the last 18 months. And I will stand up every day to rebuild the support for children and their families with special educational needs, because the current situation in Staffordshire, and in Newcastle-under-Lyme particularly, is unacceptable. My constituency boasts beautiful parks and green spaces such as Queen's Gardens and the Victorian Brampton Park, known for its museum, its aviary and landscape gardens. I'm looking forward to you visiting us, Madam Deputy Speaker. We have Lyme Valley, the old Keele Golf Course, and much rural, productive green belt in the northern part of my constituency, centred around Audley and Maiden. And whilst I completely and unequivocally support our government's plans to build more homes, we must at the same time do as much as we can to protect our green spaces and deliver the infrastructure that goes with any new homes. It must be a case of doing things with, not to people. While some might look north of the Watford Gap and see a cultural desert, I see vibrancy. I'm especially proud of the New Vic Theatre, known for its innovative productions and meaningful community engagement. Now, you can't talk about North Staffordshire without mentioning the old mines and pits in Chesterton, Silverdale and Crackley. Nor can you avoid talking pottery and ceramics, because of course our region was home to the age-old pottery industry. And I'm looking forward to working across the A500 and the A34 with my honourable friends from Stoke-on-Trent Central, South and North. Now, my constituency, Madam Deputy Speaker, boasts of being home to a Prime Minister, the 6th Prime Minister of Australia, Mr. Joseph Cook. Long dead, but he was born there. He was born and raised in the old mining village of Silverdale. Now, I'm proud of the fact that the Prime Minister was born in our patch. The only issue, Madam Deputy Speaker, I have with Cook is that he started off in the Labour Party and ended up a Tory. But nobody, or almost nobody, is beyond redemption. So, Speaker, on that basis, you'll forgive me for emphasising his passion for aiming high when I talk to the young people of Newcastle and make reference to him rather than his political party moving around. Now, Madam Speaker, Newcastle-under-Lyme could not be better placed. We are bordered by the West Coast Main Line and the M6, in between Birmingham and Manchester, not far from Derby and Nottingham, and only 90 minutes or so from our capital when Avanti chooses to work properly. Madam Speaker, robust rail infrastructure is a strategic necessity for Newcastle-under-Lyme, for our region and for our United Kingdom. By doing so, we stimulate economic growth, we bring people together, and we tear down barriers. And we can do so whilst at the same time protecting our environment and preserving our planet. Addressing the north-south divide in transportation infrastructure is not just about fairness. It's also about maximising the full potential of the north to contribute to a more balanced, prosperous and sustainable future for all of us. That's why I welcome the bill before us today. It shows my constituents that we meant it when we said we would focus on getting our nation back on track. And I see the Minister for Buses is on the front bench, and I'm looking forward to speaking to him about buses soon too. Now, Newcastle-under-Lyme was rich in coal, leading to extensive mining activities for not far off 200 years. The coal industry played a crucial role in the town's development and economy. The development of the Trent and Mersey Canal in the 18th century enhanced transportation links, facilitating the movement of coal and pottery. The canal system was vital for industrial distribution before the advent of our railways. The wonderful Apedale Museum and Heritage Centre provides future generations with a window back to the proud history of our town. I first went when I was about 12 and it's still going strong. The Apedale Valley Railway operates at the same site, adding to a great family day out. Sadly, though, like most of the West Midlands and the North, we are proud of our past, but we have not seen sufficient focus on building our future by diversifying our industries and our jobs. As the historic and traditional industries declined, my constituency transitioned to a service-orientated economy, based on education, on healthcare and on retail. And rather than Tory sound bites and gimmicks, this new Labour government has a plan to deliver real change, driven by a mission of national renewal. That's clear from this bill, and it's clear from the New Deal for working people too. Because let's be clear, under the Tories, working people suffered more than a decade of falling and flatlining pay, whilst prices in the shops went up and energy bills soared. People across Newcastle-under-Lyme still feel the worst effects of the cost of living crisis today. The Tories broke our country, and we're all still paying the price. Labour's New Deal for working people is a plan to make work pay, ensure security at work, and help provide the work-life balance everyone deserves. This bill and an improved rail service will bring connectivity and growth, and set alongside a new workers' deal to ensure working people can prosper. We will see the power of a Labour government. Now, Madam Deputy Speaker, cleaning our air and tackling waste crime is a priority for the people who sent me here. Wally's Croy landfill is a disgraceful example of the worst excesses of profit over people, and we will not stand for it anymore. It's an environmental crisis, and it's a health one too. That's why I'm grateful that the Secretary of State, my right honourable friend today, answered my calls and those of all members of Newcastle-under-Lyme Borough Council and granted permission to the Council to proceed with legal action against Wally's Croy Limited. That's more done in 3 weeks than the last 3 Environment Secretaries did in 3 years. It requires the law to be changed, and I know the Environment Secretary has heard me loud and clear. I'm fortunate, and I'm keeping an eye on the clock, Madam Deputy Speaker, I'm fortunate to have met and to know my 3 immediate predecessors, dating back to 1986, Aaron Bell, Paul Fowley and the Noble Baroness Golding. I'm grateful to them all for their service to the people of Newcastle-under-Lyme, and I wish them and their families all very well. I've been lucky to have had some wonderful support and advice from some brilliant people since my election, and over the years. And so I want to make a special mention to former Prime Minister Julia Gillard, former Taoiseach Joan Burton, and a former member of this House, Lady Herman, who made my wedding cake. For me, or our wedding cake, I should say. Alison was probably safer with cutting it. Now, for me, this is personal. Newcastle-under-Lyme is where my wife Alison and I will raise any family that we'll be blessed with. And let me say, Madam Deputy Speaker, how grateful I am to my wife Alison, who's been on this journey with me over the last 7 years. On foot, on plane, on bus, in the car, and on our railways. I love and admire her and her work as a nurse in our National Health Service, work that will be strengthened by this Labour government. I also want to acknowledge the support of my in-laws who are watching these proceedings from Northern Ireland. Madam Deputy Speaker, the last really important speech I gave was on my wedding day. Now, memories of that speech are the reason Alison and my family are very pleased indeed that I have an unofficial time limit. Although I'm pushing it. My speech as a new husband lasted 28 minutes. It was timed. It was very sure. It was timed by my closest mates and friends, and they have not to this day let me forget it. And it took that long due to the appearance of some very happy tears. Now, today is a marginally shorter speech, but there are no tears. But there are, and there is, emotion and determination. There's love of family and love of country. And a resolute determination to do my utmost to ensure, in Newcastle-under-Lyme and across our United Kingdom, that all families know that in the years ahead, their children will be able to build lives of opportunity, community, security, success, and hope. Yeah.